everyone, it's Julia and welcome back to my channel. I am making some product for my Etsy shop and for my summer shop, and I decided on some sunglass cases. Now I have this template and I've cut my fusible foam, one fusible foam for each of the cases. And the fusible foam is a single-sided fusible and the fuse is up when I cut these. And then I have this pack. It's a collection of 10 by 10s. So there's 42 in this pack. I actually picked these up at a quilt swap where people were selling their things. And I got this whole pack for $10. Now these would make a wonderful quilt, but I know I will never get to it. And so I thought I'm just going to make these easy sunglass cases. And it's wonderful because it's all the fabric matches. So this is just a great way to use something like this. Now each of these is, like I said, 10 by 10. And so I'm going to cut 2 inches off of each side of these. You want to have at least a ½ an inch going around your foam. And so I'm just going through and I'm cutting a 2-inch strip off of each of these. And then I'm just kind of matching these up to which I want the outside and what I want for the lining. So you need 2 of these for each of your eyeglass cases. And I'm just going to show you on a couple of them here. Decided on the yellow for this, the lining, and then this really cool multi-shaped one for the outer. I'm laying this now so that the sticky side is down, or the adhesive is down. Then I flip it over and iron it. I just center that foam on that piece. Now I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch some of those straight lines right through that foam, and you can see it here. It just gives it a really cool quilted look. Now putting right sides together, putting in a couple pins. And then we'll mark that long side for the opening, about a 3-inch opening. Now taking it into my sewing machine and I'll be stitching around this. I'm using my zipper foot. It just tends to be a little bit easier. And I'm showing you there, like this foam is quite thick. It's like 3/16 of an inch. And I want to run my presser foot approximately that distance away from the foam, just so that when I turn it, the foam has a place to lay down. And then I'm going back and forth at that opening just to reinforce that. When I clip my seams, I don't clip that opening edge, but I do clip this little curve, just making sure you don't get into your stitches at all. And then I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm going to turn this inside out, or right sides out, and then also I have a little wood pokey tool that I'm getting the corners. Now your foam might lift a little bit, but this next step you're just going to be using your iron again. I'm folding that opening over there, and then you just take your iron and all that foam will get pressed back down into shape. I'm going to take this again to my sewing machine and I'm going to top stitch first that top edge, and then I'll fold it, and then I'll finish it off. Again, just using my zipper foot to do this top stitching. Just edge stitching that. And now I folded it, and I'm going through all the layers. And I really reinforced that beginning there because that's going to be a stress point. And then across the bottom. And here's what it looks like. I just think they're just adorable. Also, your phone will fit in there. If you want to protect your phone before you throw it in your purse, it's a great phone case as well as a sunglass case. I'm going to just share one more quick one for you here to show you how I'm going to decorate this one. It's just a real plain black print. And then I'm just going to use one of those 2-inch strips that I've cut off and just add a little detail. I really went with using just the fabric in this collection because you know me, I would normally throw some lace on it or put some words on it or something. This time I just made myself just use the fabric in this collection. I'm using a little bit of Roxanne's temporary glue there instead of using like a fusible webbing or any kind of anything. I'm just using a few dots of that temporary glue and then hitting that with my iron. That's going to dry that glue really quickly. And this does not gum up your sewing machine at all. And this one I think I just used I just used an applique stitch and to get that on, and you can see it when I flipped it over. Doing it the same way, I'm just turning it and top stitching and then finishing it off. Here's what they look like. I'm going to have a bunch of pictures at the end so you can see all of them. I have 20 of these strips left, and I thought I'm going to make another project. I'm going to make some fabric cuffs. I'm going to turn each one of these right sides together and make tubes out of them. Just took a 1/4 inch seam allowance on those, and I'm going to use my FastTurns to turn them. This is like I purchased mine about 20 years ago, and they really come in handy. They have these tubes, different sizes, so I'm just choosing the one that fits in mine. And then they also come with these wires with a little hook at the end. And then you see that white yarn that I have. I'm going to fill my tubes with that white yarn just to give them some structure. I just turn that little top over of that fabric, stick that little hook through, and then just like magic, this yarn just will fill that tube. And there it is with the yarn all in, it's turned and then the yarn is in there. I'm going to show you one more, just sticking that cylinder through there, sticking the wire in, folding that top over, hooking that little hook, and then just getting it somewhere close to this yarn, and then that's just going to just go right in and fill that tube. I've gone through and I've done all 20 of my tubes, and I've decided I'm going to use 5 tubes for each of my cuffs. I want to do a little fabric bead, so that's going to be my next step. I've picked some fibers out there. You can see them on the right hand side there, and then I have my trimmings that I've just have in this basket from when I trimmed all my sunglass cases. I'm using a fabric fused glue, and I'm also using these jumbo straws. Putting some glue on my straw and then just wrapping some of these scraps around. So each bead is going to have some scraps that match in the collection, and then I'm just going to tie them off with a piece of fiber. Something really easy and quick. I can make 3 beads on each of these straws. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to just add some more glue, another piece of the fabric, and then tie it off with a piece of fiber. Your fingers get really gluey with this project, but I really enjoy this. There's so many different ways you can make these fabric beads. And then once they're all cut or done, I'm just cutting them with a pair of craft scissors. I'm going to put one in the center of or the middle tube. Now I'm to my sewing machine, and I'm going to zigzag the ends of these. I've bunched them up, and I'm just zigzagging back and forth. I have my zigzag stitch set at the widest zigzag, and you can see it there that I'm just kind of bunching them all up so that they form just like just a nice shape. You can see it there. I'm going to add a piece of elastic cord. This is just like a 3mm elastic cord, and it's kind of a off-white color. And I'm just zigzagging that on. I use a multi-step zigzag when I do my elastic just to make sure I get it secured. And then because the stitching is kind of wonky, that zigzag stitching, I'm just covering it with this silk ribbon, and just using a zigzag stitch. And I do have the same color thread on as my silk ribbon, and I'm just wrapping this around. I do add some fiber going across my tubes. This just keeps everything together. I am using a free motion foot for this. It just kind of meander stitching over that fiber. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is add a button. I just have a metal button that has a foot on it. And this is what it's going to look like. I have a bunch of pictures at the end, everybody, so you can take some closer look at some of my things. You're probably going to see a lot more of these kind of projects because it's crunch time and my shop is opening in Memorial Weekend, so I'll be getting a lot of new product made. Have a great week, everybody. Bye for now.